Have you ever felt like you're talking too much and no one's really listening? Or the more you try to explain, the more you're misunderstood? Then wondered, maybe if I stayed quiet, things would feel lighter. If that resonates, this video is for you. Modern society pushes you to believe that to be recognized, you must perform, speak up, compete, and prove yourself. But the louder you get, the more lost you feel. The harder you try to be understood, the further you drift from yourself. That's when it hits. Silence and self-focus aren't weakness, they're strength. The strength of knowing where you're going, what to keep, what to let go, and that not everyone deserves your emotions, words, or precious energy. In today's video, we'll explore 10 profound lessons, not empty theories, but real-life practices, to build a calm, steady life centered on what matters most. You, from mastering timely silence to releasing the need to be understood to working without fanfare, you'll discover that controlling silence means controlling your life. If this topic speaks to you, hit like, subscribe, and don't miss the lessons ahead. Now let's dive into the first lesson. The strong don't talk much, they act. Lesson 1. The strong don't talk much. They act. Have you noticed? Truly strong people speak sparingly. They don't boast about their knowledge, skills, or plans. They don't dwell on future goals or complain about circumstances. They don't preach how life should be lived. They do, quietly, steadfastly, without needing recognition or applause. Their results echo louder than words, their achievements answering for their silence. This is the clearest mark of inner strength. In contrast, the less confident someone is, the more they need to talk, to be validated, agreed with, or praised. Their noise isn't a sign of greatness, but of fear. Fear of being overlooked or deemed insignificant. The more you feel compelled to prove yourself, the deeper you fall into the trap of performance. You waste time, energy, and focus chasing others' approval. You talk big but do little. You announce plans prematurely, only to falter when you lack the strength to follow through. Over time, this erodes your credibility with others and, more dangerously, with yourself. The strong are different. They don't need to prove anything because they know what matters. They don't need to win every argument. They aim to win in the long game. They don't counter every criticism. They know timely silence is the wisest response. The strong don't waste words. They channel that energy into training, building, and evolving daily. Their quiet presence commands respect. Reflect. How often have you vowed to change but stayed the same? How many grand plans have you shared with friends, only to abandon them? How many times have you spoken too soon and stumbled? Sharing isn't wrong, but doing it prematurely or excessively drains the energy needed for action. Psychological research shows that announcing plans releases dopamine, tricking your brain into feeling accomplished before you've started. This is why many lose motivation after talking. They've already claimed the reward of early validation. The more you talk, the less you do, living in the illusion of progress while standing still. To be truly strong, pause. Stop talking so much. Stop declaring untested intentions. Stop explaining yourself to everyone. Instead, work in silence. Discipline yourself quietly. Change discreetly. Let results speak. Results are undeniable proof. No debate needed. They stand clear, decisive, and irrefutable. Silence doesn't mean total isolation. It's about sharing wisely, with the right people, at the right time, in the right measure. Share to inspire, not to seek approval. Speak less, do more. You don't need to announce your transformation. True change is evident without words. Loudness fades quickly, but quiet strength lingers in memory. The noisy need a crowd to exist. The strong need only themselves. They know real value doesn't require advertising. It shines when the time comes. If you're rebuilding yourself, guard your energy. Don't squander it on pointless chatter. Don't prove you're changing. Let others feel it. Become reliable, and trust follows. Achieve, and words become unnecessary. The first lesson of inner strength: let actions speak louder than words. If you catch yourself talking more than doing, don't self-criticize. This is your starting line. From today, try holding back 50% of what you'd say and turn it into action. Soon you'll see silence yields far greater results than speech. If this lesson resonates, comment with a daily reminder, like, do first, talk later, or I choose action over explanation. Hit like if you find value. Subscribe to catch the next lessons. You're on a path to live powerfully, quietly, and far-reaching without the need to perform. Lesson 2. Silence sharpens your observation. Silence holds a strange power, but not everyone is attuned enough to feel it. When you choose silence, you're not just withholding words, you're opening a space in your mind. This is where intuition thrives, where you observe rather than react, and where you notice what chatter often obscures. That's why those who speak little see further, those who listen deeply understand more, and those who stay silent at the right moment hold the reins in any situation. In silence, you observe the world with clearer eyes. You catch the body language of others, the hesitation in a liar's voice, or the true energy behind polite words. You're no longer swept up in someone else's narrative. You craft your own perspective. This deep observation lets you sense things others haven't yet said. It's not a superpower. It's the clarity of stepping back, resisting the urge to interrupt, and refusing to prove yourself. Deep livers aren't smarter. They're silent at the right times. They're not driven to dominate conversations or jump into every discussion. They choose their moments. They listen more. This makes them trustworthy, the ones others confide in, because their silence creates a safe, non-judgmental space. Someone can talk to you for 2 hours and understand nothing about you. But someone who sits silently for 5 minutes, observing closely, might see what you're hiding. Modern culture demands you speak up, respond fast, and assert opinions. But sometimes saying nothing is the strongest move. In a heated debate, the silent one holds the upper hand. In a strained relationship, the one who doesn't react instantly is decoding the real issue. In a tense meeting, the one who waits before speaking is weighing what's worth saying. In life, the one who doesn't let impulsive emotions dictate words is the most reliable. Silence reveals who's genuine and who's playing a role. It uncovers details the talkative miss: a fleeting glance, a forced smile, or a repeated phrase masking something. By not rushing to speak, you let the conversation settle, and in that stillness, truth emerges. The best communicators aren't the smoothest talkers, they're the keenest listeners. To listen deeply, you must master true silence. Silence also lets you observe yourself. You're not dragged by fleeting emotions or snap thoughts. You step back, examine your mind, and ask, what am I thinking? Feeling? Is this valid? How should I respond? In silence, you reconnect with yourself, acting with clarity. You don't speak out of habit or react emotionally. You choose words consciously. That's high-level communication, and it begins with silence. If you've been called quiet, reserved, or aloof, don't rush to change. Ask, does my silence help me see more? Avoid needless conflict? Understand others deeply? If yes, your silence isn't weakness, it's a weapon. Quiet but razor sharp. People fear the loud but respect the concise and precise. To speak rightly, observe closely. To observe closely, embrace true silence. Silence isn't evasion, it's a choice to live with depth, to conserve energy for meaningful matters, to understand others before seeking to be understood. This brings a unique calm, not loud, not turbulent, but crystal clear. If silence ever helped you see someone's true nature, share that story in the comments, or write a daily reminder like, Silence to see clearly. If this lesson resonates, hit like to show you're with me. Subscribe. The next lessons will take you further in building quiet, enduring strength. Lesson 3. You don't owe anyone an explanation. There's a profound freedom few dare to claim, the freedom to not explain yourself to anyone. You don't owe explanations because you don't live for others' understanding, approval, or agreement. Those who want to understand you will. Those set on judging will twist your words no matter how much you clarify. Living for others' validation traps you in an invisible web of expectations, biases, and external gazes. You don't owe explanations because you alone bear the consequences of your choices. Only you know the true reasons behind each decision, step, pause, or pivot. Outsiders see the surface, but you know the silent currents within. Why turn your life into a report for someone else's approval? Reflect. How often have you explained yourself to avoid being misunderstood? Felt guilty for needing space, declining an invite, or changing plans? Given reluctant whys to appease others while turmoil brewed inside? Those explanations didn't earn respect. They left you drained, hurt, and distanced from your core. The strong aren't cold. They know when to stay silent. One critical moment for silence is when you're pressed to explain what doesn't need saying. Those who don't demand explanations trust you. Those who demand them never truly did. Without trust, explanations are just fleeting breezes. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. The struggles you're overcoming, the wounds you're healing, the goals you're quietly nurturing, these don't need to be dissected, debated, or judged. They deserve the protection of silence. Deep livers speak sparingly about themselves, not from secrecy, but from knowing some things are too sacred for unready eyes. Silence is a choice, and you have every right to use it to guard your boundaries. When someone asks, "Why'd you quit your job?" you don't need to say, "My boss was awful," or "I was stressed." A smile and "I needed a new path" suffice. If they pry, stay silent. You don't need to fuel their curiosity. You're not a topic for gossip. Refusing to explain doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're human, enough to not need external validation. You live by inner conviction, guided by your values, experiences, and truths. By not explaining, you deny others the power to judge. You don't open the door to their uninvited questions, advice, or critiques. Here's the surprising part. The less you explain, the more respect you gain. Not because people fear you, but because they sense your clear boundaries. They see you're not easily swayed or unsettled, signaling, "I know what I'm doing, and I don't need to broadcast it." Of course, you can share when you choose, but let it flow from freedom, not pressure. Share when you feel truly heard, with those refined enough not to distort your story. Otherwise, guard your privacy like a treasure. It's armor against noise, baseless judgments, and what doesn't belong to you. If you felt pressured to explain against your will, comment, "I don't owe anyone an explanation." Write it to reaffirm your right to silence. If this lesson lightens your heart, hit like and subscribe for more content to live sturdily, authentically, without pleasing others. Lesson 4. Don't expect others to understand. Understand yourself. First, one of the deepest wounds we carry is the feeling of being misunderstood. We've all been there, pouring your heart out only to face indifference, misinterpretation, judgment, or dismissal. You retreat, withdraw, and wonder, does anyone truly get me? In that moment, you need a wake-up call. Stop seeking others' understanding. Understand yourself first. Others don't misunderstand you out of malice. They simply lack your context, experiences, and the journey you've walked. They see a sliver of your life and rush to conclusions. They don't witness your sleepless nights of inner conflict, the silences you held to keep peace, or the effort behind your choices. You can't demand they see it. Those are parts of your life you've lived alone. Accept this truth. No one, not even your closest loved ones, can fully understand you. Each person lives in their own inner world, shaped by their wounds, desires, and perspectives. If you rely on others' understanding to feel secure, you're placing your self-worth in their hands, a fragile position. A single misjudgment can make you feel inadequate. A skewed critique can shake your self-belief. That's why those with true inner strength prioritize understanding themselves before expecting it from others. When you know yourself, you're less angered by misinterpretations, less hurt by unrecognized efforts, less driven to argue, explain, or despair. You don't need others' validation to know you're on the right path. Self-understanding grants unshakable grounding that the outside world can't strip away. Understanding yourself isn't easy. It starts with looking inward. What am I truly feeling? What scares me? What am I chasing? Am I doing this for myself or out of fear of being left behind? Each question peels back a layer. Each honest admission, even the uncomfortable ones, heals a part of you. As you grow in self-awareness, you'll speak to yourself with more kindness. You'll stop berating yourself for mistakes, tormenting yourself for falling short of expectations, or forcing perfection to earn acceptance. You'll embrace your flaws, uncertainties, and unnamed pains. This self-acceptance frees you to extend understanding to others, not by demanding they get you, but by no longer needing them to. Those who understand themselves demand less validation. They connect, love, and engage, but they don't cling. They accept misunderstandings as inevitable. Don't blame others for misjudgments, and don't strive to prove detractors wrong. They live true to their inner truth, and that's enough. Reflect, how often have you felt let down because others didn't understand you, yet you weren't clear on your own desires? How many times have you been upset by someone's wrong reaction without knowing what right would look like for you? We're quick to judge others for not getting us, yet often we're lost within ourselves. Don't expect others to understand you if you haven't taken time to understand yourself. When you do, you'll find a peace no external validation can match, the foundation of inner freedom. If this lesson hits home, comment, "I choose to understand myself first." It's not just words, it's a vow to turn inward. Listen to yourself and seek less external confirmation. If this lesson feels vital, hit like to share its value. Subscribe to keep building deep, mature inner strength, and let's continue this journey together. Lesson 5. Focusing on yourself is discipline, not selfishness. Focusing on yourself is often labeled as selfish. People say you're self-absorbed, uncaring, or cold when you skip gatherings, dodge meaningless chats, or step away from relationships that no longer fit. But the truth is, prioritizing yourself isn't selfishness. It's discipline. It's an act of self-love that starts with you. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean neglecting others. It's recognizing that if you're not solid, you can't support anyone. If you're riddled with wounds, anxiety, or chaos, your efforts to help others only spread that turmoil. Only by tending to your mind, mastering your emotions, and setting clear boundaries can you show up steadily for those you care about. That's why those who focus on themselves rarely get crowd applause. They don't cater to the masses, follow molds, or chase noisy validation. They step back. They choose quiet. They commit daily to small, consistent acts, exercising for health, reading for the mind, meditating for the spirit, learning skills for work, refining thoughts for the future. These quiet, persistent efforts, misjudged as selfish by outsiders, are the only way to avoid being swept away. Today's world thrives on distraction. Social media, news, events, friends, drama, family expectations, and comparisons pull you off course. You live reactively, saying yes to invites, meeting demands, forgetting the vital question, how much of my energy today went to me? Not to others or proving myself, but to my long-term growth and inner stability. Focusing on yourself is discipline because it demands overcoming guilt when saying no. It means facing the fear of being left behind when you leave misaligned friend groups. It requires resisting the urge to doom scroll. It means pushing past procrastination, compromise, or surrender. It means enduring remarks like, "You've changed," or "Why are you so different now?" and still choosing to persist. You pick a quiet morning over partying, train when no one's watching, learn skills instead of swiping TikTok. That's discipline, proof of true self-love. Ask yourself, if you don't invest in yourself today, who will? If you don't learn to stay calm, who'll bear the cost of your impulsiveness tomorrow? If you neglect sleep, nutrition, your body or mind, who'll pick you up when you collapse? No one. Focusing on yourself is responsibility, not selfishness. Selfishness is living solely for yourself while harming others, but quietly forging a better life each day. That's awareness, not ego, and you don't need to justify it to anyone. You might feel lonely at times. Stepping away from shallow parties, pointless meetups, or one-sided talks can feel isolating. But trust this, that solitude is where you build. You're crafting a robust inner life. One day your calm, strength, kindness, and clarity will draw others to you. Not because you tried to be liked, but because you're fully, authentically you. The best part? When you focus on yourself long enough, you naturally become valuable to others without trying. You don't need to preach, advise, or save anyone. Your presence, clarity, and peace inspire effortlessly. People feel it in how you live, quietly but with undeniable weight. If you've been called selfish for prioritizing yourself, comment, "I train to live clearly." If this lesson affirms your path, hit like to own it. Subscribe for more lessons to build a stronger you, not to please others, but to live fully as yourself. Lesson 6. Not reacting is a form of strength. You don't have to respond to everything life throws at you. Not every harsh word needs a comeback. Not every misunderstanding demands clarification. Not every judgmental glance requires a defense. Sometimes not reacting is the highest form of strength. It's not avoidance or weakness. It's the mark of a mature mind that knows not everything deserves your energy. We're raised in a culture that equates speaking out, rebutting, and setting things straight with strength. Quick responses are seen as bold, fierce retorts as victorious, but often reacting is a sign of lost control, a knee-jerk response driven by fleeting emotions. You react because your pride is stung, your ego bruised, or you're dragged into proving yourself. When you realize others' actions are their story, but your response is your strength, you'll pause. In that moment of non-reaction, you truly command the situation. Reaction is instinct, restraint is mastery. Anyone can get angry, annoyed, or want to explode when insulted or treated unfairly. But the person who pauses, observes that emotion, and chooses not to act on it, they hold the power. They don't hand control to others. They don't let someone else dictate their day's peace or chaos. They stand like a rock amid a storm. That's real strength. The weak need to speak, to counter, to win, to make a scene. The strong don't. They know silence is often the clearest response. When you stay silent against an attack, you're saying, "I won't stoop to that level." When you ignore a snarky message, you're declaring, "I won't engage in this pointless exchange." When you don't speak up as a crowd misjudges you, you trust the truth will endure without shouting. This doesn't mean enduring everything. You must pick your battles. Not every fight needs you armed and ready. Not every word deserves a reply. Not everyone merits your explanation. Learn to discern, is this response rational or is my wounded ego? If it's the latter, silence is the true healer. Understand this, people often talk most about what they lack. Critics often lack confidence. Judgers don't know themselves. Provocateurs want to drag you down to feel less small. Reacting validates their game. But by not reacting, you preserve your peace and render their tactics useless. A game no one plays soon ends. Not reacting isn't easy. It requires enduring the urge to speak, the sting of being misjudged, the assumption of passivity or weakness. But once you push past that, you reach a new level of inner strength. You no longer react to prove anything. You act only when necessary. You avoid endless emotional spirals. Non-reaction clarifies your life. You gain time to see issues from all angles, space to hear your inner voice, and distance to separate emotion from reason. Acting from clarity, not impulse, preserves the qualities you value: calm, compose, kind, yet resolute. If you've ever stayed silent and preserved your integrity, share that story in the comments. It might inspire someone today. If this lesson reveals what true strength is, hit like to spread this mindset. Subscribe for more lessons to build a quietly powerful you. No need to strain, just pure strength. Lesson 7. Don't show off plans. Show off results. One common mistake many people make on their journey of self-improvement is talking too soon about things that aren't yet certain. They spark an idea and rush to tell the world. They set a goal and post it on social media with enthusiasm, as if it's already done. But in reality, announcing plans too early can quietly kill the persistence within. That's why those who truly go far don't talk much about what they'll do. They let their results speak for themselves. When you share a plan, especially in its early stages, you open the door to all kinds of external energies. Some will doubt you, some will criticize, some will oppose, and some might even envy you. If you're not yet grounded, these reactions can easily make you question yourself. You start tweaking your plan not because it's flawed, but to please others. You focus on convincing instead of doing. Your mind gets consumed by others' opinions, dimming the inner fire you need to keep burning. Even worse, there's a hidden danger. When you announce a plan, your brain biologically releases dopamine. It creates a false sense of accomplishment. You feel like you've already achieved something, even though you've only thought about starting. This makes you prone to early satisfaction, sapping motivation, and delaying real action. That's why so many people get excited talking about their projects but never seriously start them. People with true strength are different. They know that initial energy is precious and must be fiercely protected. They don't share plans while they're still forming. They don't need feedback, praise, or approval. They just quietly act. One small step each day, one piece refined at a time. They let their results do the talking. And when those results come, they speak louder than any announcement ever could. Keeping your plans private doesn't mean you're closed off or secretive. It means you're serious about your path. You don't trade your dreams for fleeting attention. You don't squander your passion for temporary applause. You understand that what truly matters needs time and silence to grow. Like a seed needs dark soil to take root before reaching for light, your plans need quiet protection to become solid before being revealed. Plus, by not sharing your plans, you avoid creating unnecessary expectations from others. You're not pressured to live up to what you said. You're free to be flexible, adjust, or pivot without fear of being judged as inconsistent. You're freer, and that freedom gives you space for creativity, the courage to experiment, and the right to fail without hiding. Results are the most powerful proof. When you achieve something, others will see it without you saying a word. They don't need your explanation. They'll notice the change in how you live, work, and show up. A healthy body doesn't need you to say, "I'm eating right." It shines through in your movements and actions. A successful career doesn't need you to boast, "I'm building a startup." It shows in how you solve problems, manage time, and make decisions. Results have their own light. They command attention without fanfare. If you're starting a project, a plan, or a major life change, keep it to yourself in the early stages. Work in silence. Track your progress daily. Celebrate yourself for small steps completed. Only when you build a solid foundation, overcome a few challenges, and know you're no longer easily swayed, then you can share if you choose. Not for praise, but to inspire. Not to prove, but to connect. If you've ever spoken too soon and lost motivation afterward, leave a comment. I choose to do first, talk later. That's a promise to yourself. From today, you'll protect your inner fire with disciplined silence. If this lesson resonates with your journey, hit the like button to let me know you're here, and subscribe to keep receiving lessons to build a quietly resilient version of yourself. No promises needed, just action. Lesson 8. You don't need everyone to like you. One of the heaviest invisible burdens that exhausts people isn't work, family responsibilities, or financial pressure. It's the need to be liked. We grow up in a society that subtly teaches us that being loved is a condition for survival, that being accepted proves our worth, that being praised signals success. But if you live to be liked by everyone, you'll be trapped in an endless cycle, constantly adjusting yourself to fit others' gazes. And the more you do, the more you lose yourself. You don't need everyone to like you, not because you want to be defiant or different, but because it's impossible. No one can please everyone. The more you try, the more you're caught in contradictions. Some want you to be authentic, while others only accept polite pretense. Some want you open, but others think you talk too much. Some need you strong, but others find you cold. You can't be all these things at once and still be yourself. When you realize this, you'll feel free. You'll stop caring too much if someone doesn't like you. You won't dwell on a stranger's negative comment online. You'll no longer feel the need to explain everything to avoid being misunderstood, because you'll know that whether someone likes you or not often says more about them, their values, experiences, and worldview, than about who you truly are. Being liked doesn't define your worth. What defines you is how you live when no one's watching. It's the principles you uphold when alone. It's the honesty you maintain with yourself. And ironically, when you stop trying to be liked, you're often more respected. People sense that you live with purpose. You're not swayed, you're not easy, you have clear boundaries. That clarity makes others take notice or admire you, even if they don't agree with you. This doesn't mean living selfishly or ignoring feedback. Wise people listen to advice, but they don't depend on approval. They filter feedback carefully, distinguishing constructive criticism from envy or prejudice. And when necessary, they're ready to walk away from relationships where they must sacrifice themselves just to stay. Ask yourself, how many times have you said yes when you wanted to say no? How many times have you laughed off something that hurt you inside? How many times have you stayed silent to keep the peace, only to endure disrespect? Each time, you're putting others above yourself. If this becomes a habit, you'll spend your life playing a role to please others, never getting the chance to live true to your authentic self. Letting go of the need to be liked is a turning point. It might leave you lonely for a while, but it also filters your relationships. Those who stay are the ones who truly accept you. They don't need you to be perfect. They just need you to be real. They value you not because you always do right, but because you always live true. In a world full of performances, authenticity is rare. If you're feeling the pressure of not being liked, pause and ask, who am I trying to please? And am I betraying myself for it? Be honest with your answer, and you'll start peeling off the mask you've worn for years just to be accepted. Then you'll feel lighter. No more pretending, no more acting. You get to be yourself, and that's enough. If you've ever felt liberated by letting go of pleasing everyone, share a brief story in the comments, or simply write, I choose to live true instead of being liked. If this lesson hits the exhaustion you've carried, hit the like button to affirm you're not alone. And don't forget to subscribe to continue this journey of building a version of yourself that doesn't need the crowd's approval yet stands strong from within. Lesson 9. Focusing on yourself helps you stop comparing. Comparison is one of the greatest thieves of joy in life. You're not truly miserable because your life is bad. You're miserable because others seem to be living better than you. You're not bored with your job. You're bored because a classmate is now a boss. You don't hate your appearance. You hate it because someone online has clearer skin. And so you enter an invisible race with no finish line, no stopping point, just to prove you're worthy. But the cruel irony is, the more you run, the more you feel like you're losing, because you're playing a game you can never win. The reason you compare isn't because you're inadequate. It's because you're looking outward too much. Every time you fixate on someone else's life, you drift further from your own journey. You admire someone's life without knowing the struggles they face in the shadows. You envy someone's success without seeing the silent sacrifices they made. You see only the highlight reel they choose to share and use it to judge your entire journey. This exhausts you, saps your patience, and erodes your faith in your own unique path. There's only one way to heal your mind from the habit of comparison: turn inward. When you truly focus on yourself, you have no time to measure whether others are moving faster or slower. You're too busy improving just a bit each day compared to yesterday. You're reading one more page, building one more habit, correcting one wrong thought, healing one corner of your soul. You don't care about others' positions because you're engrossed in your own map. One only you can read, one only you understand the steps to navigate. Focusing on yourself redefines success. It's no longer about having the most money, the best body, or the perfect partner. Success becomes living true to your values each day. You stick to your chosen goals. You stay calm amid praise or criticism. You stand firm when no one cheers you on. And from that peace, you no longer feel less than anyone because you've stopped using them as your yardstick. When you stop comparing, you're not just lighter, you become more open. You can celebrate others' successes without feeling hurt. You can learn from them instead of envying them. You understand that everyone has their own timeline, circumstances, and lessons. Someone achieving something before you doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It just means your journey's different. Every seed blooms in its own time. You're not late if that's the time you need to grow from your roots. Remember, no one is exactly like you. So measuring your life against someone else's is the most illogical comparison. They have a different foundation, different experiences, different pains, and different beliefs. You don't need to be like anyone else. You just need to live deeply and authentically as yourself. Every day you move forward with awareness is a victory greater than any fleeting accolade out there. And when you truly live this way, something remarkable happens. Others start comparing themselves to you. They'll see your calm and wonder how you stay so steady. They'll notice your quiet, consistent actions and feel inspired. They'll see you don't need to boast, chase others, or seek validation. Yet you live with depth, direction, and value. That's what everyone secretly aspires to, even if they don't say it. If you've ever felt drained from comparing yourself to others, leave a comment with a promise to yourself. I choose to focus on my own journey. Write it to remind yourself you don't need to be a copy of anyone. You are a real, worthy journey on the right path. Just keep going. If this lesson lightens your heart even a little, hit the like button to let me know you're here. And don't forget to subscribe to keep receiving lessons to live true to yourself without getting lost in anyone else's gaze. Lesson 10, don't rush to speak. Step back and observe. In an era where everyone can voice their thoughts instantly, where a comment can reach thousands in seconds, knowing when to stay silent is a rare and powerful skill. Not every situation demands your immediate response. Not every issue requires your input, and not every statement deserves your reaction. Sometimes the wisest thing you can do is step back and observe. Stepping back isn't losing. Silence isn't surrender. Observation isn't indifference. On the contrary, it's a sign of mental maturity. When you pause, you gain a broader perspective. You see the essence of the situation, unobscured by fleeting emotions. You discern what's central and what's peripheral, what to address and what to ignore. Most importantly, you notice how you're reacting. This allows you to choose your response deliberately rather than being swept away by emotional currents. Think back to times you spoke too quickly. How often did you regret your words right after? How many times did you wish, if only I'd stayed quiet a bit longer, if only I hadn't said that then? That's the cost of not pausing. When emotions surge and reason hasn't caught up, words spill out as a reflex, often leading to poor outcomes. But when you step back, you give reason a chance to speak over impulsive ego. Stepping back also lets you observe others. You'll see the real motives behind their words. Are they speaking to understand or just to show off? Are they reacting from hurt or trying to manipulate you? Are they seeking dialogue or dragging you into a pointless fight? By stepping back, you're no longer in the storm's center. You're above it, seeing how everything operates, and from there, no one can pull your strings. Rushing to speak often falls into the trap of, I must have an opinion, but you don't always need one. Sometimes your calm presence carries more weight than a flurry of explanations. Sometimes a quiet look can make others reflect more than any rebuttal. You don't need an immediate answer. You can say, I need time to think. That's the strength of someone unshaken by others' pace. Picture your mind as a lake. When someone throws a stone, reacting instantly stirs the whole surface. But if you stand still and observe, the ripples settle and the water clears. In that clarity, you see where the stone landed, what it caused, and whether it's worth picking up. Observation is the pause that keeps your mind's waters calm. Those who don't rush to speak rarely get trapped by their own words. Speaking too soon can lock you into a stance you later realize was wrong, forcing you to backtrack. But when you observe long enough before speaking, your words are precise, concise, and don't need retracting. You save energy by avoiding the fallout of hasty remarks. In relationships, this is even more crucial. When you feel hurt, misunderstood, or insulted, the instinct is to speak out to defend yourself. But try staying silent even for a few minutes and observe your emotions. You'll notice anger subsiding. You'll see the issue might not be as serious as it seemed. You'll find a calmer, more persuasive way to respond that preserves the relationship. A mature person isn't emotionless. They just don't let emotions dictate actions. If you've ever avoided unnecessary conflict by staying silent, leave a comment. I choose to step back to see clearly. It's a reminder to yourself and others that true strength lies not in quick reactions, but in careful observation. If this lesson helps you feel calmer, hit the like button and subscribe to continue the journey of becoming someone who lives deeply, stands firm, and doesn't need to rush to prove themselves. You've just walked through 10 quiet, unflashy lessons that, if woven into your daily actions, can transform how you live, react, and exist in this world. Focus only on yourself and stay silent isn't a cold statement. It's a compass for those exhausted from pleasing others, drowning in noise, or chasing external validation at the cost of losing themselves. Starting today, you don't need to speak much to be recognized. You don't need to explain to be accepted. You don't need to argue to be deemed right. Just consistently do the small things, take steady steps, and choose silence at the right moments. You'll feel a real strength growing within, a strength that doesn't need to be seen, but will hold you steady through any storm. If at least one lesson in this video made you rethink how you're living, leave a comment below. I choose to live firmly and silently. It's a small commitment, but enough to spark a new journey. And if this video touched something deep inside you, hit the like button to spread this value to more people. Don't forget to subscribe to catch the next videos, where we'll continue this journey of building inner strength, living clearly, and going far in silence. See you in the next lesson.